Good morning, everybody. Welcome into The Grounds, the most unique show that 216 Creator Studios has. This is where you, the audience, the listener, can be the part of the show. You're going to see Uncle Pete right underneath Steve and Sam there. There's the URL. Throw that in there and join us. Let us know your thoughts. Big shout out to our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center. 815-891-03. Some. Some weeks I remember that and some I don't. But www.mchenrymassage.com. Of course, if you are stressed, they will help you be blessed. A whole crew of massage therapist, deep tissue massage, yoga massage, hot stones, couple massages, whatever you need, they got it, and they'll help you be blessed. Of course, coming in from Galena is our good friend Scott. Scott, good morning.
Morning, Scott.
Guys.
Hey.
That's it. All the way out there in a chateau.
Chateau Giles, right? Or as we call it, Casa Cayuga.
Casa Cayuga.
How's the weather out in Galena, bud?
Oh my God! Right now it's beautiful. It's supposed to be in the 70s this weekend. So if anyone wants to come out and do yard work and golf, come on out. That's the only roadblock I got this weekend, is making sure I get some stuff done outside.
We'll see you when you get back.
I figured as much, but I had to throw the invitation out there, right?
Hey, you know what? How to handle life's roadblocks is what we're talking about today. Why? Well, because life throws several of them at you. Scott, you and I were talking a little bit about this yesterday, but always seems that right when you got shit rolling, all of a sudden there's a detour. And Tim Santos is in. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, buddy.
I love it. He had one of the funniest memes, and I'm like, God, that's me. Tim posted the other day. He's like, hey, you could leave $1,000 cash on my desk and I'm not going to touch it. That's how much you can trust me. But if you leave a 20-piece nugget, you're going to come back to about 17.
Hey, that's true honesty, right? I mean, you got to love that.
It's so true. You're like, yep, I did a couple of those too.
The money does me no good right now, but the food looks really appealing.
That's it. So, Scott, what are we talking about? Roadblocks. Are there such thing as roadblocks? Does life throw it at you? What happens? What do you do? What's your attitude? What would be one of those roadblocks?
Well, that was 6 questions. Let me think about that one for a minute.
Good show.
No, I mean, roadblocks, I mean, they come in so many different shapes and sizes, if you will, right? I mean, some things happen to us for a reason. Other thing, I think everything happens to us for a reason. It's figuring out, I guess, well, for me, I always try to figure out why, but it's getting past that. What's slowing you down? And obviously it depends on the situation, but I mean, it can sometimes be as simple as, like in my business and home inspections, a gatekeeper, right? The front desk secretary that just won't let you talk to people, right? I mean, that's a roadblock for me in getting
literal.
Literally, right? I mean, they call him gatekeeper to get in there, and it's up to me as a business person to try to figure out how to get past this particular roadblock in order to achieve whatever goal I'm trying to, work closer to or what have you.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a skill and an issue that everybody has, whether you're, a tech person, a geek, a nerd like me, whatever. I mean, roadblocks are going to come. We've talked many times in the past about, life and things like that. And it's not what happens to us, because we all experience pretty much the same stuff. It's how we react. And I think that falls also into the roadblock section, right? How do I react? The girl says no to me 7 times. Well, I go back 9 times, right, to make sure that I get my point across. It might not be great. It might not be what I want. That's what I need to crack that code, so to speak.
Just the tip across.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an interesting.
I think roadblocks are actually things to help teach us as well, too, right?
King of just he had to go there.
He's got a sign in the store that says that. You go up 7 times and it doesn't work. Try 9.
I didn't hear that one. You're right. Never give up. I mean, that's how we all, succeed or make things happen, right? Never giving up. So, hey, 7 doesn't work, try 9. If 9 doesn't work, give it 10. We have to also know when to cut bait, right?
That's right, Master. Of course, Dana, good morning, says, I'm old enough to see those roadblocks as moments to see something in greater detail. The detour is often better. Yeah, I think that happens. But a lot of times, when something happens of that nature, we stop. We stop and go, well, I can't do it. This is the universe telling me I shouldn't go down that road.
And that's usually self-doubt.
Yeah. A lot of it, right? I've shared this story several times. And this is what I always think of Roadblock, right? Is my philosophy is if there's something in the road or roadblock, whatever, you just, you Dukes of Hazzard that shit and you bust your ass through. So, I've shared this story. When I was selling insurance in Iowa, I roll up to the Johnson's farm, and I was there, and there's Mrs. Johnson at the house, and I knock on the door. She's up, Bill's out there in the milk house. I said, oh, okay, I'll go out there. Now, keep in mind, I'm 27, 26 years old. I've got a, double-breasted suit on, pulled up in my Cadillac because I was selling insurance. I was important.
You're pimping.
And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll go out and see him. She goes, oh, he'll be up in a minute. I said, no, it's all right. I'll go out there. Right. So I go out to the milk house in my suit, and
ready to work.
Got the and it's a nice one. It's kind of an olive colored double breast suit. I've got the white shirt on, the tie.
I can picture that.
At that point I had the young Republican haircut.
Say he had hair.
Yeah.
I can testify for that.
And so I go out there, and of course, if you're familiar with milk houses, the cows go into stalls, right? They kind of know where they go. They go into stalls, and then you hook up the milkers, and between the cows' asses is a walkway,
right?
And it's concrete, right? So I'm on one end of the milk house, and Bill's on the other end of the milk house, and I'm like, hey, and it's loud in there because the milking machines are going, loud, and so I start walking towards him, to go shake his hand, say, hey man, how you doing, blah blah blah, and about 3 cows in front of me, the tail goes up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, when the tail goes up on a cow, that means they're either pissing or shitting. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Bethy, so I stop and I kind of take a half step back, like, okay, something's going to happen and it will splatter because it's concrete. Right.
Right.
And so I take about a half step back so I don't get close. And the cow starts to shit and sneezes.
Oh, no.
And I get blasted with cow shit. From head to, it's in my hair, it's on my glasses, it's all over my suit. And all I do is I just look down like, did that fucking just happen?
Where was TikTok then?
Yeah.
Barbara Johnson is in tears.
Well, yeah.
He is in tears.
You just made his whole week.
Yeah, right.
I mean, just think of mud and somebody just flings mud. It's splattered all over me. And I look down and I look at him and he's in tears. And I am like, holy shit. And, it's on my face, I'm like, what the fuck? And he's just in tears, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, don't try to wipe that off. You gotta let it dry. I'm like, what? He's like, you gotta let that dry. So I literally sat there with cow shit from head to toe all over me, right? And this is in July, so I mean it's hot. It's hot at night when July.
Yeah.
And I am and then I talk with he and his wife and deliver a sale. Now it was one of the best sales that I ever had, but I think they did it because they felt sorry.
Well, yeah,
they felt sorry for me. I don't care.
you should have bought that cow, taking it with you on every job.
So I'm literally, sit there for a half hour or whatever, and make the sale with them, half hour, 45 minutes, and I just smell like an entire cow shit, right?
Yeah.
A cow pie, and I'm sweating, and I can't wipe things off because I'm covered in it's in my hair, it's everywhere.
Oh.
So I then close the sale, right? And a lot of people be like, this is a roadblock. And a lot of them would go, I can't, I'm so sorry. I've got to go get this off of me, or something, right?
We'll reschedule.
Reschedule, right? And I'm like, nope, I'm fighting this one through, right? And I literally close the sale. When I open my trunk, I pop the trunk and I take my suit coat and I take it off and I lay it down wide open in the trunk so that none of the poop gets in the car, and I drive to the nearest town, which is a half hour away or whatever, which happens to have a little men's store or whatever, and I walk in with cow poop in my hair and on my pants and stuff, and they're looking at me like, what? So I buy a golf shirt.
Day, huh?
Yeah, I buy a golf shirt and khakis, whatever. And I
Shitty day, huh?
and I didn't have the leather. I mean, it was the crushed velour in the Cadillac.
Oh.
Oh no.
So all day, so then I take off my suit pants and, lay them in the trunk as well. And all day, my Cadillac just bakes
Oh yeah.
because it's the middle of
Yeah.
summer and it smells like fucking cow shit in there. It took literally a couple months to get the smell out of
Oh
there.
sure.
And the suit was ruined. I tried to take it to a dry cleaner. You couldn't.
They just laughed at you.
Yeah, you couldn't get that out.
Yeah.
So I'm that guy who's like, nope, there's a funny story in here, or if I push through and crash through the barriers like the Duke of Hazzard, something good's going to happen on the other end, right?
Wow.
So I don't take roadblocks as roadblocks. I'm like, nope, there's something really good going to be over there. I got to go get it. That's been my philosophy, and I learned it because of cow shit on me.
Well, the way I look at that is you already stepped in it, so you can't ruin the sale. So,
That's it.
Well, that's totally true. And you did not let that adversity slow you down. You probably, it worked out to your advantage, right? I mean, a lot of people would have given up at them and been like, oh shit, you know what I mean? They would have been like, I'm done. I'll come back.
Yeah.
I'll reschedule. But why? You're already there. It's already happened. What has happened has happened. It's how you reacted, right? You're like, fuck it. I'm going to stay here.
Yeah, Drew's like, and good morning, Cappuccino says, this story sounds like the beginning of a movie. And yes, they did buy. They did. And again, I think it was more out of pity, like this poor bastard sitting sweating, dripping cow shit off.
No, if you had come back in clean clothes, they would not have felt nearly as bad for
No,
you.
not at all.
Right.
No, you worked that. I mean, that was about the only time you could have closed that in the way you did.
Well, he took the adversity in front of him and he just capitalized on it, right? I mean, what can he do? He could have gone home, right? Like you said, he could have gone home, changed his clothes, come back, and it would have been a totally different scenario. Yeah. But he took what was dealt him and he made lemonade out of lemons, right? I mean, most people would have just freaked out and ran out of there. I mean, honestly, not. The way you explain that, the first thing to me is like, oh, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you need to go get dressed up for the sale, but that kind of humanized you for him too, as well, right? Like, I mean, you didn't lose your mind like your little prima donna. You're like, well, it's cow poop. Do you want to sign here or should I come back?
I mean, it was in my mouth, it was bad. It was everywhere.
I want to see that picture of you with hair.
I can still taste it.
To this day.
Yeah.
Taste that sale. Shayna says, I pay attention to the hints from the universe. It only takes about 3 smacks upside the head to fully grasp it now. Progress.
Only 3.
Only 3. That's right. So I think roadblocks to me just are, this is a challenge to me.
Yep.
I don't stop. right? I've never quit. I'll walk around, the velvet ropes or whatever, but it's, to me, to me, there aren't any roadblocks. There's a moment to the roadblock is there where you have to stop and think, but go. And I have trouble with people who, I don't have trouble with the people. I guess I don't understand why they give up or quit or turn around and go back. And that's just been me.
A lot of people, when adversity or something, I don't even want to say hard, something challenging comes up or something that's out of the norm for them, a lot of people will just be like, nope, I'm done, because they need that simplicity. Where I feel like, for me, I know for me, those little challenges put in front of me, that's I relish that, right? Like, if everything was easy, if life was easy, everyone would do it well, right? I mean, it's taking what's in front of you and making, lemonade out of lemons. And when it happens, I know we've talked about this. Sometimes I look at, why is it here in front of me? Like, what's it trying to tell me? But okay, it pushed me to a different spot or a different way to make something happen, which actually turned out better, right? When we get things out of our comfort zone, and sometimes roadblocks can be things out of our comfort zone, I mean, I've shut down in the past for sure. There's certain things that it's like, I'm done, right? Like, it's that roadblock for me is telling me something, like Shayna says, 3 slaps in the face. I mean,
Yours is
you have
actually
to know
9.
what's that?
Yours is 9 after 9 times.
No, it was 7. It was 7.
After 7, he doubles down.
Yeah.
You know what and that's the big, and I think that's the big secret sauce for life, right? Is just keep moving, keep going ahead. I mean, it's there for a reason. If you want to try to figure out why, that's great too. If you don't, and you just move ahead, that's great too. But don't let it don't make it cause you to give up, right?
Well, and at the end of the day, those are really your only options. I mean, they say people give up. Nobody ever gives up forever unless you honestly give up forever, which means you end your own life, or you're no longer living. Because as long as you're here, you're still moving forward. You're still getting through things. I see roadblocks. So when I think of them, like, obviously, the story you told, perfect example of a roadblock, right? Yeah. But like a specific roadblock that you could identify and overcome, right?
Yeah.
When I think of like the generalized roadblocks in life, I think of everything that makes it harder to get out of bed in the morning, everything that sucks away my enthusiasm for life, everything that makes me more apathetic than I was previously. Those are the roadblocks. And what I have to do is I have to figure out a way to still get out of bed and enjoy my life every day. And I do. Some days are harder than others. Sure. And obviously, I'm referring specifically to things like grief. Obviously lost my dad recently. It just changes your perspective. And it's not harder to get out of bed in the morning, but it's more of the mindset.
I agree with you. You know, one of those things that I've gone through lately is I've done so many changes in the last 4 months in my life. And and I can relate to that. It's kind of struggle in the morning of like the old you versus a new you. You know what I mean? It's like, which one's going to win? The other thing about roadblocks is when I see them, my new perspective is I ask myself, how bad do I want this? You know what I mean? Like, is it aligned with what I want to do? Do I really need it? Do I really want it? Like, how bad do I really want this?
That's good. So not overcoming a roadblock just for the sake of having done it.
Yeah. Oh. But really, like, listen to the universe. Is this aligning with what I want, or like, is this a sign, or is this just a test?
No, it's funny you say that, because like I feel like I do that all the time, where you just get stubborn and you're like, no, I'm going to overcome this, and it's like, but why? What was the purpose?
Especially of especially us as men, we get very competitive, and it's that like, damn it, I need to be right. Like, I need to do it this way and whatever. And we do want to just barrel through that roadblock and find a way and whatever and accomplish it and be like, I won. But really sit back and go, well, how bad do I want this? Is this really aligning with what I want, or is it a test or is it a sign?
But that's easier said than done.
I'm not saying it isn't. Don't get me wrong, but that's how I look at it lately.
I mean, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I read a self-help book, so I can push through."
Done. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm looking at, I'm processing what you said, Steve, right? And I'm trying to think I mean, I failed a lot in life. Again, though, I'm in a spot where, you know, I haven't lost a child.
Mhm.
I haven't lost a parent or an in-law, right?
Yeah. But you've always expressed gratitude for things above what normal, like you look at the situation, you're like, hey, I have it good comparatively,
Yeah.
which is just a gratitude mindset.
right.
But
right.
like things could always be worse I mean, that's true for everybody though.
Yeah. And that's, you know, I'm trying to go back in my brain and you know, Alice and I moved out to Illinois because we started a coffee shop, and I had a horrible, you know, business partner that stole money, and it was a great coffee shop, great concept, and we were looking at expanding. It was doing so well, and embezzlement, stealing, and everything else. And I don't think I sat too long in that, you know, I didn't wallow in the mire, as they say, right? And I don't know if that's just me being the youngest of four boys, and you know, you had to fight for everything you ever did, you know, or if it's just the way that I approach life, I guess. I don't know.
I think that might have been your sales background of just go for no, and like, you know, there's always another opportunity, because I remember that, and you bounced back. I mean, you could tell that you were going. Now that I look back, you could tell that you were going through the shit, like mentally and emotionally. It was a strain. I remember that with you and Alice and the kids, but you kept upbeat, and you were like, okay, well, there's always going to be something, like there's always another thing. We're not dead here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this sucks, and yeah, it's going to impact us, but no one's dead, no one's dying, no one's, you know, whatever.
What was your job immediately previous to that before moving out?
I was an insurance guy.
That was the insurance job.
Yeah.
So your options.
I worked for a company out of downtown Chicago. I was the regional manager for the top 1/3 of Iowa when I was 27. So I was a big shot, right? I thought I was.
Did you say big shit?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Farmer Johnson agrees.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And then they you know, they made an accounting error, and they said that I stole money, which I ended up proving I didn't. But they took, you know, I was in line to get one of the biggest annual bonuses the company had ever given out.
Yeah.
And they took me out of my position because of this accounting error, and they said that I stole money I didn't. I proved them wrong. You know, and so I left. And my father-in-law was like, "You should sue them, some bitches," you know. And I'm like, "Nah, it's not who I am. Just move on." And then we moved out here, you know. I was like, okay, well, that didn't work, so I'm gonna start a coffee shop, you know, and I be an entrepreneur, and here we go, you know.
And when that didn't work out, though, your choices were, you know, you pack up the family again, move back, go do insurance again in some capacity, or move forward, live your life, do what you want to do. And right now, I mean, would you rather be Kent the coffee shop guy or Kent the radio guy who's the head coach of women's basketball?
Yeah, I wouldn't trade my life.
Exactly. I didn't think you would. Yeah, I mean,
but you know, at the same time, I'm like, well, if I was that coffee shop guy, somebody would have bought it, and I wouldn't.
Exactly.
I'd be sitting in a cabin on a lake somewhere as a multi-billionaire. Me and Doge would be.
But you know, the good thing about it is everything that was thrown at you is you took it. Well, I don't know how you viewed it, but you took it and you go, okay, I've got basically two choices every time something comes at you. Right. Yeah. And you adapted. And that's the important thing. I mean, it is what it is. You can't change what happened. It's what you're doing at that point. And if it'll, you know, as Chris pointed, does it align with what you're doing and where you want to go?
That's Sam.
I don't know.
Anyway.
You know, it's important to look at.
Welcome to the show.
Sure.
Yeah. Shayna says the real list will adjust. A man with children won't allow a long pity party, if any. Yet I hope that's not sexist. No, it's true, because you know that was it. I got to put food on the table. I've got, you know, now after the coffee shop, you know, failed. You know, we lived in Section 8 housing. You know, because I wasn't making money. I had a family of 4, and we chose to Alice. You know, would raise the kids. That was her dream, to be a mom and raise the kids. And so it's not that it was easy. We struggled, but the kids never knew that we struggled, right? I mean, we let them be kids.
You know? Talk about a heck of a roadblock. I mean, think about that one. Your whole life was basically upended.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And like you said, your choice was, you know, your choices were go back to Iowa, take back what you had and what you know was working, or continue to move forward and go, you know, what do we really want out of this? Why did we make this move? you didn't give up, right?
Well,
You're-
well, and that's why I say, my roadblocks obviously different, from what Steve said is like I have not in my life that I can remember laid there and go, should I get out of bed this morning?
Right.
Um, and so that's but to Steve's point, those are specific roadblocks that, yeah, in a business sense or in a world where you have to put food on the table. Steve still hustles every day to put food on the table for he and his wife, right? I mean, that's what he does.
Well,
right?
I mean, how long did that affect your confidence, your motivation? I mean, how long did you sit there swearing at this guy that stole from you, like sitting at your house, just having your morning coffee, just being like, damn motherfucker? Like how long did it take before you were able to be like, you know what? No, I'm gonna get my shit back together. We need to move forward. Like that small regroup time. That's the time I'm talking about.
I'm the wrong guy to ask that.
No?
Yeah.
What I've got a question for you, Steve. So you mentioned roadblock as far as getting up every day, right? And dealing with life situations, right?
Like actually physically getting up, more in a motivational sense, like having the motivation to go out there and live life.
But do you look at not having the motivation as a roadblock? I think what we're thinking about, and in my picture, roadblocks are things that are thrown up to us every day that I'm going to say maybe is something different. Waking up every day and, having that challenge to get your brain right to, get up and go do your day, to me is a little bit different than the issues that are like being thrown at me during my day of different things, right? Like not routine things, like getting up every day is a routine.
It's more about the little roadblocks that pop up throughout your life that add up after a while. It's not about just waking up and not feeling like it. It's about knowing that you're facing X amount of roadblocks, not necessarily being able to even identify them, but if you can identify them, not being able to take actionable measures to fix them. And then you just have to live with that, and you have to slowly grind your way through them. And then you have to somehow summon the motivation to break through. It's like you say, you got to bust through those roadblocks. You have to find that motivation. You have to get up in the morning and you have to say, okay, today's that day. I'm going to put my mind to it and I'm going to get through all of these roadblocks, or at least these specific ones.
Yeah. That getting up in the morning is a manifestation of facing all of those roadblocks that are the external world, right? It comes inside and you're like, oh man, I gotta do this, and I fucking don't want to face it, and blah 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 blah. I think that's what maybe you're saying, because that's how I feel when I hit that. It's like I just want to put those covers back on and be like, I'm not dealing with this right now. You know what I mean?
Well, I know a lot of procrastinators.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They wake up in the morning, they see all those roadblocks, and they're like, cool, I'm going to sit on TikTok for the next 4 hours.
Exactly.
And just pretend like I don't have housework and bills to pay.
Easy distractions for them, right? And that's the reaction of what's happening to you. You have that choice, which is a beautiful thing, right? We all have that choice to sit in there and stare at TikTok or do whatever. I mean, every day is a day, right? It's going to bring good, it's going to bring bad, it's going to bring, maybe some ugly. We don't know, right? But just getting up and starting your day, I mean, that's like with Kent. I mean, you ever see Kent pissy in the morning? He gets up and he's, you know what I mean? For the most part, he knows he has himself in a routine, right? He gets up, he's grateful, he does his thing. Yeah, he's got issues, but his roadblocks, he's, at least what I see, he manages that part, right? Every day is very routine.
Well,
right. And when things happen, it happens, and he tends to move through it pretty well. I mean, you can tell when something's roadblocked him or he's uncomfortable because he'll make jokes at you, but he doesn't let that stymie him or stop him, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's, I'm very familiar with Who Moved My Cheese. Great
That's
book.
a good little book.
Yep. But to answer your question, I forgave him immediately, and I said it was my fault. It was my fault. It was bad business decisions, and I'll say that today. It was bad business decisions to trust him, right? And we could talk about how he stole whatever from us, but Alice carried that for years and years and years and years and years and years. She wouldn't have slowed down if she saw him in the street. I would tell you that, right? For years and years and years and years and years. But looking back at it, I can also say, looking back at it now, I can say that I was probably depressed for a year to two, right? I fought through it every day, put a smile on and ran.
Yeah.
But I was, looking back at it now, I go, oh shit. There was a lot of signs of depression during those few years, 3 years. And, and had I known that, I might've approached things differently or done things differently. But again, like you said, I wouldn't have the scars or the dirt on me to be where I'm at now.
Well, I think looking back on it, depression, but I think it was just you got kicked in the nuts and it humbled you from that 27-year-old that was a hot shot and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, now I got kicked down a couple levels and I look like a jackass to my family or to things like that.
Sure,
especially my in-laws and stuff. And I mean, I remember you've always been a guy that just like the duck off the water off the duck's back. Like it just kind of rolls off you. And then you're like, okay, let's move ahead.
Yep.
Like can't do anything about the past is a past, let's move forward. But I think that, it still affects you, right?
Yeah.
Obviously it always does. Everyone gets affected some way, shape or form. And I think that what Steve and I are talking about is like, roadblocks hit people in different ways and they all deal with them in different ways. Some people just plow through them and some people have to analyze them and, ponder them and all that shit and internalize them. And some people just kind of hit them and then deal with it later, right?
Yeah.
The after effects. So everyone's different and everyone deals with it different, but it's the fact that you're moving through them some way, shape or form.
Yeah. And I mean, it took you hindsight and years of time to look back and be like, man, I was depressed.
Right.
Like, because at the time you just put your head down and you woke up every morning and you pushed through, which is, I mean, that's what you have to do to move forward.
That's admirable too, because a lot of people won't do that. A lot of people will just give up at the first sign of adversity, right?
Yeah.
If it ain't easy, I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's the American way, how I look at it, right? A lot of people, if it ain't easy, I'm not going to do it. I need shit given to me. If it ain't easy, I'm not going to do it. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And, it's tough for me to see that with people, I just wonder, how they were raised going, who let you give up? With my kids, when I raise my kids or even people, it's like you see them do something, they fail at it and they want to give it. It's like, well, you started it, just finish it. Cause you're just going to have that in your brain the whole time that you didn't finish. Your brain's going to remember that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, we're just having a little sidebar conversation here.
I know.
Coffee sidebar. So, Steve, and Sam, when you guys are, what is your motivation then? I mean, when you're laying there and you're like, fuck this day, right? What is it? Is Steve? Is it Sam? Is it I gotta get up and let the dog out? Is it Sam? Is it hey I've got to? I mean, whatever, right?
To me, it's getting to that point that you get to so much quicker. It just takes me longer. Of that, like that shit's in the past. Let's move forward. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's also getting past the beating myself up for or whatever. And the more and more, and this has changed, especially in the last 6 months, that loop is a lot quicker of sitting in my shit and going, okay, am I going to beat myself up? Am I going to continue to beat myself up or just go recognize what I did and move forward? The thing that I think I talked to you about this last night about self-forgiveness is, to me, I've realized that self-forgiveness is recognizing what you did, learning from it, and not letting it happen again or moving forward. Right. And that loop becomes quicker and quicker and quicker. And now I don't really sit in that shit and dwell on it and stuff like that. It's kind of like, okay, water off the duck's back. Let's go.
Yeah.
But for some people, they got to really analyze that and beat themselves up and stuff like that.
So for me, I don't know. I've had experiences that were subpar, less than ideal, like your coffee shop experience.
Yeah.
I've had a few in my life, and I've gone through some rough times. On coming through the other side of that, I've never struggled to get things done that I needed to do.
Okay.
So I wake up in the morning and I no matter how bad I feel, I will get up and I will do the things that I need to do. Where it affects my life is I will just stop being social altogether. I don't go out. I won't go out for a drink with the guys.
That's odd for you.
I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. Well, so like I haven't been to the Shack in 3 weeks.
Wow.
That's how you can tell. Like I haven't had the motivation.
Yeah.
I haven't had the I have not felt like myself, and I have not had the motivation to be like, you know what? I'm going to go have some drinks and celebrate what? You know what I mean? Like I can't get myself there. It's a mindset that I just can't grasp. And then people are, you want to go to this like parade, and it's absolutely not. I don't. No, I'm using all of the energy I have to make sure my bills get paid right now. But thank you very much. I appreciate the invite.
First of all, I'd question you if you did want to go to a parade. Don't understand those. But anyway.
They're weird, right?
They are.
I mean, unless you're in it, like I don't. Yeah.
They're so weird. Hey, let's go sit on the street and watch people walk by.
Yeah.
And then they'll throw bad candy at us. That's it. You know what?
Oh, you got the wave down though.
I do.
Yeah, that is good.
Somebody get this guy a float.
That's good.
Professional by far.
Yeah. So the hard thing is, and I get what you're saying. I people all day, and I hate people. Right. Yeah. I love them equally as I hate them. But I'm in the people business. It's what I do. Right. And, I was talking with Lucy, my 15-year-old last night on the way home from basketball. And she's like, what exactly do you do, Dad? And I go, well, why do you ask? Well, people always ask what you do. And I'm like, well, he used to work at a bank and now he coaches, college basketball. And I go, well, you just tell him that, I own 216 Creator Studios and, I work hard there for internet radio and podcast. And now I work for a technology company as well.
Yeah.
And I go, she goes, yeah, but what do you do? I go, I build relationships. I go and talk to people. I build a relationship and then they trust me and then they do business with us.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's all you do?
Like, never done.
And I'm like,
Put food on the table.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, honey, I do people. And that's why when I go home, I'm done peopling. Right. And I'll go sit under the lid or, I'll veg at that time. That's why a lot of people are like, hey, you want to go out? You want to go out? And I'm like, nope, I've peopled enough today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, hey, Wendy, how are you? Welcome in, my dear.
How we doing, Wendy?
Long time. Hope you're well. I hope you're well. And so, so the truth is, this is my 15-year-old, I've built a life, I think that's cool because my kid doesn't know what I do.
Yeah.
And not to be secretive, but I've been able to break out of life's mold. Yeah, go to college, get a degree, work 30 years, do this. I've got the entrepreneur life that if she needs to be picked up at 2 p.m, I can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If I need to take a day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can do that. But at the same time, while she's sleeping, she doesn't see me up at 1 a.m. doing shit.
Right.
Or at 4 a.m, and, so that's exciting to me that I've been, I've built a life to be able to do that. Right. And it's a tough life because it never stops.
Yeah.
Right.
And you could have stopped many times with all the little roadblocks that have been thrown your way and go, nope, I just want to work for somebody else. Right. I mean,
well,
how long has Creator Studios been going? Right. How many roadblocks have you hit? And what do you keep doing? You're going, nope, there's just something in me that says I need to keep moving. This is what I'm meant to do. Right. Or where I'm meant to be.
Well, and now I'm scared of my business partner. So I'm scared of that little Italian guy, so I try to work hard. Because,
I thought you were talking about Krejci.
So as I look at it, I don't know if I ever have. That's why I say I'll bust through it because I'm like, well, I'm supposed to learn something to go through this, right? You keep hitting enough potholes, your rims are gonna bend, right?
Yeah.
And your ride isn't going to be the same. But my philosophy, my outlook is like these scars tell a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is who this is what built me, right? And so, to do that, I think you're okay stopping at the sign and doing what Sam says is, you're going to get people, come on, buddy, you're all right. Come on, blah, 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 and the deal is it's in your time, man. You're going to be like, wait, man, I don't know how big this pothole is that's on the other side or what it's going to do to my ride. I've got to try to figure this out a little bit. And the hard thing as people, as friends, is I don't allow you that time, right? So many times we as friends and support people come up against our friends who are at a roadblock or have something massive, right? I'm going to use, I'll pick on Cappuccino a little bit. When his brother passed, right? This was the last of his family. His mom and dad have passed and his brother passed. And everybody's, oh, hey, thoughts, prayers. And I told him, I'm like, listen, man, I go, I have no fucking idea what you're going through. I don't.
Right.
Because my mom and dad are alive. My 3 brothers are alive. I said, so if you're looking for advice, I'm not the guy to give that to you.
Right.
But I'll walk with you for however long it takes and for however long that journey is. And I'll be here. Right. But if you're looking for advice, I can't give it to you because I fucking don't know.
Well, I think so many times that friends want their other friends to fit into their idea of how life is supposed to be. Like, it's kind of like that. It's that camaraderie within the crab bucket, right? Where they all kind of want to keep everyone together, right? That herd mentality. And even if it's good or bad, somebody goes off to their own and has to be themselves. It's like, no, come back and fit our mold. Come on, fit our mold. And what you were saying and what Scott was saying is how many times with this studio, you kept on going. That goes back to my whole question. Is like, how bad did you want it? Right. And did it fit in with your path? So you're asking that time. Okay. Now this happened. Okay. Well, how bad do I want it? And is it really what I want? You know what I mean?
I've killed off a lot of partners.
Well,
Is that why Cappuccino's not here today?
No. He's here.
And when people hit roadblocks, Kent will love this one too, Chris. I don't know, or Steve, if you guys have ever read this one either.
Sam.
The book by Simon Sinek, What's Your Why?
It's still Sam.
What?
His name is Sam.
Oh, God, I've been calling him Chris the whole time. I'm sorry, Sam.
You can call me whatever you want.
I thought we were talking about Steve's wife. So, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's why are you doing it? Why do I move forward? I mean, that's really what it does. It fit into what you're trying to accomplish in your life or with this, whatever this program or whatever this little facet of life is going. Why are you doing it? What's the outcome? Could you push through it? And smart people is knowing, when if that roadblock keeps getting thrown up, why and when do you give up, right? Like, I mean, the smart person, knows when to give up, right? I mean, what do they say? Call it insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? But
welcome to Friday morning.
Yeah.
9 times smacked across the head.
That's right. But I mean, sometimes you have to continually hit that wall. So it's important.
Yeah. As we talk about it and we look at it, Sam and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. My biggest roadblock in life has always been, the imposter syndrome, right? Is I don't have a 4-year degree. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I went to school of hard knocks. And so it's right when there have been things, I create my own roadblock or change the GPS because that little voice inside my head says, yeah, I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah.
Little self-sabotage.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Little self-limiting belief on yourself there, Kent.
Oh yeah, that's
nobody does that. Nobody does that at all. You're the only one, just so you know.
But that's a perfect example of the type of roadblock I'm talking about.
Yeah.
One of those things where you can't. I mean, it's years of therapy is gonna be getting rid of the imposter syndrome. You can't. That's not something you can just be like, cool. All right, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna work through this in my head, and then like 5 minutes later, you're done, and it's no longer a roadblock.
Right.
Every day, that's gonna vary on how much that affects your apathy.
What do you mean?
Some days it's going to be more. Some days you're going to feel. Some days you're going to go to a sales meeting. You're not going to know what the hell anybody's talking about. It just happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had that before where it's like I'm totally prepared for this meeting. I have no idea what's going on. I feel I feel so out of place right now. I'm just going to smile and nod and agree to everything everyone says, because then they'll think that I know what they're talking about. And usually it works.
Good
but then
point,
you
Jared.
leave that and everyone's like, great job, Steve. And you're like, oh my God. And then the imposter syndrome just goes like this. And you're just like, oh yeah, no, totally. I'm the guy. Finger guns. And then you go back to your office and you're like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
You and about 75% of corporate America, Steve. No, but none of them know what they're doing there.
That's it, right? And there's successes I didn't have because of my self-imposed roadblock, not necessarily life, but my self-imposed roadblocks. Like, I don't think we can get over this, good job. Now that you crossed that fence, idiot. Who's saying that?
I mean, that's an awesome point that you guys bring up. Originally at first, I'm talking about roadblocks, external roadblocks from other people, other things. The biggest roadblock, I think, for all of us is ourselves, right? The imposter syndrome, the self-limiting beliefs, the shooting ourselves down and shooting ourselves in the foot before we even get going. And I think everybody suffers from that. It's just how we get out of that and realize that that's bullshit. It's fucking a lie, right?
Yeah, that's like what I was saying, that right now, my biggest, with all of these changes that I've had in my life, my biggest thing is the old me versus the new me, and really, feeding the wolf that I want to feed, you know what I mean? In that battle, which is new me, and recognizing that pattern and heading it off way quicker than I ever used to. Right. And recognizing it. And I think that's that imposter syndrome, that self-doubt. Sometimes, it's almost like you're seeing apparitions, you're seeing things that aren't there, and you make up, roadblocks in your head. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you make a mountain out of a molehill, and you're like, oh, that over there is going to be the hardest thing of this business. And really, that's the easiest fucking thing. And this over here is really the hard thing. You know what I mean? So because you already have a preconceived idea of what something's going to be or not be, instead of having the experience, because of the imposter syndrome, of what it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I love the fact you state that. For me, sometimes the hardest things in the world for me to get by are some of the simplest things, like making a phone call.
Yeah.
Like literally making a phone call and going, shit, what are they going to say? What's going to be my answer? Well, if I don't call them, it ain't going to matter. I'm not going to know. You know what I mean? It's getting and I'm going to use the word courage.
Yeah.
I'm a 57-year-old grown man that's done a few things in my life, and I still have problems sometimes mustering up the courage to do the little, most simplest things that could actually move the needle more than the big thing. And I wallow in that little shit, worrying about that little stuff that has nothing, like really sometimes has no bearing whatsoever, but that's what like paralyzes me. Like, we'll get that paralysis through analysis type of thing. It's like, can't do it. I'm going to hide, and I'll do that sometimes in the morning. Like Steve was talking, getting up like, ooh, I got to do this today. That's my own roadblock, but realizing that I'm blocking myself.
Well, and I feel, I guess I'm also grateful for my lot in life, because as bad as I have it, I do I regularly interact. I got a friend with high functioning autism. I got a friend with low functioning autism. To wake up every day and then just have that be your roadblock for the day. I mean, I can't complain. I woke up perfectly functioning, completely happy. I mean, not that they're probably the happiest people I know, but still, the fact is that every day they have to work through that roadblock. The amount of people I know who are neurodivergent of some type, right? My mom, just the most distractible person on the planet. I mean, she starts a sentence and ends with a different subject. She cannot keep her train of thought. Every day she wakes up, she drinks her coffee to focus, and somehow she does it.
Yeah.
That's her physical roadblock that she has to overcome every day.
I do that. I do that all the time. It's my ADHD, but I'll just start in the middle of a sentence of the conversation I've had in my head for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
People are like, what?
My mom's doctor told her she had one of the worst cases of adult ADHD he had ever seen. And I was laughing, and I was like, I didn't know they gave that diagnosis to adults. And she's like, they do. Oh, yeah. I'm like, you gave the doctor. I would love to be the doctor writing that diagnosis for a 70-year-old woman.
Yeah, right.
Like, you got ADD. And she's like, oh, yeah.
Thanks for telling me, Doc.
Oh, shit, huh?
Yeah. Hey, I got probably one of the worst cases I could ever feel, and it makes sense to me now that I know what it is. Right? That's a roadblock for me, but it's also a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's being able to use that, just like with your mom. You know, I haven't met your mom. She sounds like a wonderful lady. I mean, look what she raised. You're an awesome dude.
Yeah,
You
she
know
did
what
a
I
great
mean?
job as a parent, you know.
Right. Right. But every roadblock that she had, you know, she was good with raising you, right?
I'm Steve Slagle, and I approve that.
You can't say that on
This is
TV.
brought to you by the parents of Steve Slagle.
You know, we laugh a lot, and I joke a lot, and a lot of times I'm impatient with people who are stuck at a roadblock, right? Because I don't understand it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, get the fuck over it.
Yeah.
Pull up your fucking pants and go to work, right? You know, and it ain't that way. You know, that roadblock sign to me is 2 feet tall, and to them it might be 20 miles tall. You know.
Yeah, but you've never showed it though. You might think it, but you never show it.
What do you mean?
Like your impatience of you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, not in front of them.
No, not at all. I mean, being completely honest. I mean, like that. You're definitely one of the most empathetic guys I've ever met. You know what I mean? Even though like behind the scenes, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to that person, you're giving out that energy still of that support and empathy. And you don't put your beliefs or your, take on the subject and force it on somebody else.
Yeah.
Which is nice as a friend.
I have that. I do the same thing though. I get irritated with people, and then I have to make a concerted effort to not do that, to remind myself that we're all going through something.
Yeah.
But I do the same thing. My immediate reaction is to be impatient or want to just like get over it. Like,
right.
What are you doing?
It's like the lady on airplane. Get a grip.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold yourself.
Exactly.
What's wrong with you?
Let me handle this.
Hold on, I speak jive.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, as a weird aside, anybody see the casting for Naked Gun?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Liam Neeson playing Frank Drebin's son.
Yeah.
Just about it. They got OJ's son there too. Hysterical.
Yeah.
Really?
Hysterical.
Yeah.
Staring at a picture of his dad, and he's just like,
I saw that.
and I was like, I can't. Liam Neeson staring at a picture of Leslie Nielsen, and he's like, "Don't worry, Daddy, I'm going to make you proud." And I'm like, I'm sold. I'm sold. I was so mad.
I'll like that in a minute.
I was so mad when they were remaking it because I'm like, nobody can do Leslie Nielsen.
Right.
And then you see Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin's kid, and you're like, nope, you nailed it.
That's
nope,
good.
It's hysterical. It's because they go on the line and they're all proud. They're all sitting in front of the pictures and they're like, yeah. And then you see OJ's son. He's like,
he's just looking at OJ's picture on the wall, and he's like, no. And you're like, oh no.
And it's his real son?
No,
no. But
I was like, damn, that's really good.
No, that would have been.
That's
That
right.
would have been amazing.
Is this a movie that's currently out or coming out?
It's
coming out like in
It's just called Naked
the
Gun.
summer.
Yeah,
In the summer.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
the
It's
new
coming out in the
Naked
summer, I think.
Oh God.
I'll watch that. I love those.
They just started dropping the trailers this past week.
I was so worried because I'm like, nobody does that style of comedy anymore. And that one scene
Yeah.
of the three of them going down the line looking at their pictures of their fathers on the wall, I laughed. It's so dumb. It's so Naked Gun.
Yeah, I know.
And Liam Neeson doing, like, you don't think about it, but doing Frank Drebin, I mean, he's like, we're here to solve a crime. And you're like, it's perfect.
It's hilarious.
It's perfect. He's so, like, he nails that, like, over the top.
You got a little something on your face.
That's fun. Exactly.
Nice beaver.
my favorite scene from any of them. It looks like is it Naked Gun? Yeah, looks like the shortstop's in trouble out there. Tiger attacks him on the baseball. Right. Uh-oh, shortstop's in trouble. It's getting mauled by a tiger. You're like, why?
Let's write this in the script.
So good.
Well, the best part is because it's just a group of guys like this, sitting down.
Oh yeah,
they're like, you know what we should do? Freaking tiger came out, and they're like, put that in. That's staying in.
That's gold.
Let's see if we can get the budget for this.
That's right.
Yeah, where are we going to get a tiger? That's on you. Scott, find us a tiger.
Bob, good morning, says, in life, we often are guilty of self-sabotage, implying that we can be our own biggest obstacle, often undermining our goals and well-being.
Amen.
Well, yeah, that's why I say, are there such thing, does life shoot you roadblocks, or are they self-imposed, or, what is it? Right. I mean, I can go back to, my insurance days again. And back in the 90s, everybody smoked cigarettes and smoked in houses and smoked in buildings,
Planes.
right? Yeah, in planes. And I had stopped at another, this was a single wide, he's a mechanic. He's living in a mobile home. And I was always taught in the sales training at that time is if they light up a cigarette in front of you, they're comfortable with you, right? So I'm sitting at these people's kitchen table after he's done working, and they light up a cigarette. I'm like, oh my gosh, I left my cigarettes out in the car because nowadays people get bent out of shape if you're a smoker. Oh, you want one? I'm like, yeah. So he went over and he lit his cigarette off the stove, right? Gas stove.
Classic. I love it.
So again, picture me. Suit, tie, young Republican hair, right? And glasses, the whole work. So I'm like, no, I got you. I'll go over there. So I go over there and I, turn on the burner, and I put my in the right, and I'm like, man, that was really warm, right? But my cigarette lit, and I'm like, I'm smelling something. I'm like, man. So I sit there and I'm sitting at these people's kitchen table with them, and I'm giving them the sales pitch, and they're tracking with me. They can't take their eyes off me. They're like, yeah. And they're nodding their head. And I'm like, fuck yeah, this is going to be good. Fuck yeah. And I get through it. I go to close it, and they're like, oh, hell no. And I'm like, man, okay, well, just next time we're around, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I go out and I get in my car, and I go to back out of their driveway. Now, this is before cars had cameras in them. So I, look in my rear view mirror, and my hair and eyebrows had burned and melted because I had product in it and everything. Bad, right? Yeah. And I'm like, these motherfuckers sat there and stared at me like, look at this fucking guy. His head's on fire.
Nothing could deter you from trying to make the sale.
No, it made you go through all that for no sale.
Yeah,
those bastards.
They didn't say anything. Like
they wanted to see how much tenacity you had. I don't care. I'm on fire. I'm going to sell you this policy. That's it.
Your hair is melted, your eyebrows are singed, and I'm just sitting there delivering it like, I'm God's gift, and they can't take their eyes off me. I'm like, fuck, this is gonna be a good sale. Here we go. And I get out there,
interested in this insurance.
So true. And I get out there and I look at the rearview mirror and I'm like, oh my fucking God. So the lesson there, people, is if you're in sales, shit is okay. Hair on fire is not.
Yeah, shit gets you the business. Hair on fire does not.
That's right. If you're pitching shit, it's better to smell like it than to have your hair on fire.
Oh, that's funny.
Very similarly, I was working at the bar one time. This guy, old man that I worked with, he kind of a gruffer guy, missing a bunch of teeth, just kind of a weird dude. But like we all went out to breakfast, like when we stayed late enough closing the bar.
Yeah.
We went out to breakfast one morning. He's eating his breakfast and it's just sloppy, like it's dripping down his face, right? So he's got. I mean, and we're like,
clear up everything.
Yeah, he's got the egg yolk, and it's like, and you're like, all through his beard, and you're like, what are you doing? And he's like, hostess is so cute, and you already know, right. We're not going to say a word. We're like, yeah, no, she is. You should try that.
You should try that.
He goes up to her, and this is at Andy's restaurant.
Yeah,
right here in Crystal Lake. He goes up to her. And he's talking to her for like 5 minutes, and then like she's like, you can see she's staring at him the whole time. And he's like feeling himself.
Like she's into me.
Right.
Yeah.
He's gonna go back to work. He comes and sits at the table. No joke. Literally says, boy, do I have egg on my face. Not knowing he literally has egg on his face. when I tell you that table is like, and he's like, I think she liked me. And we're like, yeah, dude. And then finally somebody told him, and he's like, what?
You do have egg on your face, Jim.
Yeah, no. And we're like, are you, did you not know about the egg on your face? And he's like, what do you mean?
Literal egg on your face.
We were like, I don't even know what to do with this guy. But
yeah,
you want to talk about roadblocks? Don't have egg on your face when you hit on someone half your age.
that's right.
Mm.
That would be another one too.
Yeah.
Listen, we're right at the 1 hour already. This hour flew by. Really, roadblocks, self-imposed, not self-imposed, whatever. Deal with them in your own time, and deal with them how you deal with them. And if you're a friend of somebody who's standing at one of those roadblocks, be patient enough to stand there as long as it takes. Don't try to push them through it, I guess, is what I would say, right? Because you don't, to your point, Steve, you don't know what somebody's going through or has gone through.
And don't assume that they want your help,
Yeah,
that
too. Yeah.
That's hard.
Don't assume that they want their help. I mean, and just let them know. Be like, I mean, hey, it seems like you're going through something. If you want, I'm here for you. I mean, I think that's the big thing, is the outlet. Most of the time for me, people don't solve my problem for me. I solve my own problem by talking to people about it.
Yeah.
Right. Because then I can hear myself, and I can use them as a sounding board. And that's, part of this podcast. The big thing is it's a sounding board for all of us to figure out that, hey, we're normal. Right.
Yeah.
We just got to figure it out for ourselves by letting other people laugh at us or what it may be. But understand that we all have this roadblock, whether it's an external roadblock or an internal roadblock. The funny thing is the internal roadblock is probably the hardest one to get past. Right. And with that being said, guys and everyone, please understand that you can do it. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Do what you want to do. Be the person you want to be. Be the change you want to be in this world. Right. Go out there, work hard, be nice to people, and understand that we all are human and that we're all getting through this little blue marble day by day. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to Grounds. Tune in for Mutts, all other shows at Kent. You can let them know what we got out there. We got tons of good shows, no matter what part of life you're living, what you're doing in life. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next Friday.
Yep, we'll let T-Bone take us out.
Well, that's a bummer. And so is that. Negative. Angry. Hateful? No.
Tired of negative content that brings you and your algorithm down, ruining your day? Don't be that guy. Level up your screen time. Welcome to 216 Creator Studios. We are fun, funny, informational, educational, entertaining, motivating, and we are here for your listening and viewing pleasure. Make sure you check out The Grounds every Friday morning. We live stream at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Kent, Drew, Scott, Steve, and Kelsey will make you laugh, cry, and learn something new. Or how about Let's Talk Local, a community podcast spotlighting local businesses and events and the stories of how and why they do what they do. Or how about Around the Piano, where Tim Paul and Drew Cappuccino interview new, talented musicians as well as some of the great titans of the music industry. And if none of that strikes your fancy, how about one of my personal favorites, The Stories of the Paranow. Watch as Seabass, and myself research, react, and judge some of the craziest paranormal articles and videos that we can find on the net. And if none of those strike your fancy, we have so many other shows to watch, and we're bringing new ones in all the time. So go to YouTube, 216 Creator Studios, hit that live tab, hit that like button, that share button, that comment button, that subscribe button, ring that bell so that you never miss an episode. Our shows are broadcast on youtube.com/@216thenet/streams. Find us, follow us, and get inspired today. 216 Creator Studios, content that moves you forward.